ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी भानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Shri Harinam CINTAMANI series. Every Saturday and Sunday morning we are having. The series has been going on since almost a year now, and many devotees have been participating. We had from the first chapter to 11th chapter or 12th chapter, if I remember. Uh, first three chapters we had the Sambandha Gyan, Tattva, a lot of Tattva is given there. And we had this first three chapters discussion. Yes. And then chapter 4 to chapter 11. So from chapter 1 to chapter 11, practically we had 38 sessions. Chapter 12 was on inattentive chanting, which is the root of all offenses. So we had almost 20 sessions on that. And then chapter 13 was maintaining the attachments of I and mind. I think around 8 sessions we had that. And chapter 14, which we just finished last week, was offenses in devotional service, Seva Aparad. We had 8 sessions. Now, we are now entering into the 15th chapter, the Bhajan of Confidential Worship. In fact, this is a very confidential topic, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is introducing this topic at the end. So it is expected that one has gone through the entire discussions, at least about inattentive chanting, at least, and the 10 offenses. It is very important because ultimately now we are going to discuss the prayojan. The prayojan is Krishna Prem and how we can attain that by chanting. What is the confidential secrets of bhajan? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to speak about it in 15 chapters. So before we begin discussing the verses verse by verse, let us go and have some overview. It's important to prepare ourselves. Harinama Chintamani, the touchstone of the holy name. It is a Chintamani. Being a Chintamani, it can bestow whatever we desire. If we chant Namaprad, then because still the Chitta, there are so many material desires you want to enjoy, so it will bestow that. If you chant Namabhas, it can bestow liberation. But if you take Shuddha Nam, then it can bestow Krishna Prem. And ultimately, the goal is to attain Krishna Prem. So this devotee should be very clear. So if we are chanting inattentively, then it will not bestow that Krishna Prem. So this is the Harinam Chintamani which can fulfill all our desires, both material and spiritual. And the topmost spiritual desire is to attain pure love for Krishna. This is what actually is the real gift of Sri Harinam. And that's why we should be very clear. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur has taken us through chapters 1 to 14 so that we can become free from all these offenses, understanding the Nama Tattva and chant Shuddhanam. So let us now go into some overview. Confidential secrets of bhajan. In Bengali, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it is bhajan pranali. Pranali means the methodology or the systematic way in which bhajan is to be done. So there is a verse by verse discussion which we began from chapters 12 onwards. Before chapter 12, I was just discussing the verses from Sri Harinam Chintamani and some important concepts we were discussing from the slides. But chapter 12 onwards, we started discussing many points in the PowerPoint. So the discussion went more in detail. So now we are going to discuss chapter 15. Bhajana Pranali, chapter 15. Again, a brief overview of Sri Harinam Chintamani. As I was mentioning, chapter 1, 2, 3, where Nam Mahatmya Suchana and Nam Grahan Vichar and Namabhas Vichar. These are Sambandha Gyan, giving the Nama Tattva, understanding this is a holy name, how one should take, how one should Grahan, how one should take the holy name. And then while taking the holy name, there is Namabhas. You have to understand Namabhas very clearly. Otherwise, you will not chant Shuddhanam. So Namabhas Vichar was discussed. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes into chapter 4 to chapter 12, the Dashanama Prad, which is the Abhidhe Gyan. And we have seen here till 13. Chapter 12 is inattentive chanting, and chapter 13 is the last of the offenses, Aham Mama Bhava Prad. So this is Abhidhe Gyan. Chapter 14 and 15, although technically speaking, it is chapter 15, which is Prayojan, but we have included 14 because at the end of the discussion of chapter 14, one who avoids the 10 offenses, avoids the seva apradhs, and he chants free from all apradhs, then he attains bhava. And how seva is done in bhava, manasi seva, was quite elaborately discussed in few of the verses in chapter 14. So in that sense, it is nearing towards Prayojan. So that's why we put chapter 14 also in the Prayojan Gyan. But actually speaking, it is chapter 15, which is going to discuss now Prayojan. So the more solid we are situated in Sambandh Gyan, repeatedly we have to study the Sambandh Gyan. And with that Sambandh Gyan, we practice the Abhidaya. Then the more we will come towards the Prayojan. Now, who is our Sambandhacharya? Raise your hands. Who knows? Who is our Sambandhacharya among the 6 Goswamis? Yes, Amal Bhaktarani Mataji.
Sanatan Prabhuji, Sanatan Goswami.
Who is our Abhidaya Acharya?
Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught instructions to Rupa Goswami. How many days he taught? The Rupa Shiksha is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. How many days? This whole conversation happened between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami. No idea?
No idea, Prabhuji.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else has idea how many days this Shiksha went on, Rup Shiksha? Okay. Yes, Satyavrata Chaitanya Prabhuji.
So it is 10 days, Prabhu, Dashashwamedh Ghat?
And yes, Dashashwamedh Ghat, 10 days. Rup Shiksha went on. Excellent. Now, after that, there is Sanatan Shiksha. Now, Sanatan Goswami later on comes and he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatan Goswami. Now, how many days this discussion went on? Anyone knows? How many days this discussion went on between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatan Goswami? Not even one knows how many days this discussion went on. You can try. I think many of you must have studied Chaitanya Charitamrita. How many days Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Sanatan Goswami? It was 2 months. 2 months. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Sanatan Goswami Sambandh Gyan, and it is filled with philosophical truths. So the more Sanatan Goswami is our Sambandhacharya. So the more we study this philosophical truth, Sambandh Gyan, Jiva, Prakriti, Ishwar, what is the relation? What is the relation between the Jiva and the Prakriti? What is the relationship between Prakriti and Krishna? What is the relationship between Jiva and Krishna? This is ABCD knowledge, what we say, but it is the highest knowledge. So we have to study this Sambandh Gyan repeatedly. That's why if you see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19 is practically the entire Rup Shiksha. 20, 21, 22 is Sanatan Shiksha. 3 chapters, full Sanatan Shiksha. All the philosophical truths are spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami. So 3 chapters are dedicated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And our next, after this Harinam Chintamani, will be Rup Shiksha from the entire 19th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it's very important. And then we'll go to Sanatan Shiksha. So the more solidly we are situated in Sambandh Gyan, we will practice the Abhidaya properly, and then we'll be able to attain Prayojan. So that's the point. We also saw the overview of Harinam Chintamani based on the definition of Uttama Bhakti. There is Sadhana Bhakti, Sadhya Bhakti. Please don't type any messages unnecessarily when we are hearing attentively. If you have a question, you can raise your hand, and you can use the chat box only for if there is some technical problem. Sadhan Bhakti and Sadhya Bhakti. See, because when I'm speaking, if there is any message on the chat box, then my flow of thought gets disrupted. And within Sadhana Bhakti, we have Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. And within Sadhya Bhakti, we have Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. So in one sense, this is not a watertight classification of the Harinam Chintamani chapters. In one sense, if you see, chapter 1 to 13 is Vaidhi Bhakti in Harinam Chintamani, where you're avoiding the Dashanama Prad. Chapter 14 spoke about Raganuga Bhakti, if you see. And now, how Bhavamaya Seva begins, we discuss quite elaborately Raghunath Das Goswami's example is discussed in the end of 14th chapter. Now, the 15th chapter is Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, Sadhya Bhakti, which is the goal. We know this Prayojan is the goal is Bhava. Kriti Sadhyat Bhave Sadhya Sa Sadhana Vidha. By Sadhana Bhakti, one should attain Bhava Bhakti. And that practice is called as Sadhana Bhakti, Sa Sadhana Vidha. This is also the definition Rupa Goswami gives in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu to define what is Sadhana Bhakti. The goal of Sadhana Bhakti is to attain Bhava Bhakti. And with Bhava Bhakti manifesting, Prema Bhakti will manifest. Bhava Bhakti is like the Ankur, and Prema Bhakti is like the fully blossomed flower. Okay, so we will now begin the verse by verse discussion with from the book directly from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhajan Pranali. Gadai Gauranga Jaya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Sita Nata Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Lord Chaitanya, to Lord Gadadhar, Gadai Gauranga, and to Nityananda, the life of Janava Devi. Jaya Jaya Nityananda, Janava Jivana. Glory to Advaita, the husband of Sita. Jaya Sita Nath. Glory to the devotees of the Lord. Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Now, text, one second. Yes, text. Yes, text 1 to 4 is basically the invocation and the basic background again, where Mahaprabhu is going to ask Haridas Thakur now to speak about Namras. So this is an invocation, and text 1 to 4 deal with this. Shab chhadi Harinam jay kare bhajan, Jaya Jaya Bhagyavan sei Mahajan. Glory, glory, joy, joy to the exalted fortunate souls. Bhagyavan sei Mahajan, who, shunning all offenses, worship the holy name. Sabachadi Harinama Jay Kare Bhajan. So it's not glorious that we chant the holy name with offenses. So here, because the Prayojan is being discussed, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, yes, glory is to those exalted souls who shun all offenses and they worship the holy name, Kare Bhajan. So, because he has already discussed about the 10 offenses, so it is expected that one who studies it will chant the holy names without committing offenses. Now Mahaprabhu speaks to Haridas Thakur. Prabhu bole Haridas, tumi bhakta bole, piyache sakala jnana ei jagati tale. Lord Chaitanya said, Prabhu bole, O Haridas, Haridas, by the power of your devotional service, tumi bhakti bole, bole means bal, the strength of your devotion, you have attained all knowledge in the universe. Piyache sakala gyan e jagata tale. this universe, you have attained all the knowledge. Sarva Veda nache deki tumara jivaya, sakala siddhanta deki tumara kathaya. I see all the Vedas dance on your tongue. Sarva Veda nache tumara jivaya. I see all final truths in your words. Sakala siddhanta deki tumara kathaya. So there is a footnote. You have spoken the Vedic. You have spoke. You have spoken the Vedas. Vedic conclusions. Conclusions. Vedic. It should have been here. You have spoken the Vedic conclusions about the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the individual souls, the illusionary energy Maya, the holy name, Namabhas chanting of the holy name, offenses to the holy name, and many other topics. Therefore, all the Vedas joyfully dance on your tongue. Through Haridas, Lord Chaitanya revealed all the truths about the holy name. Rasa is the final attainment brought by the holy name. So, how it is that Sarva Veda Nache Deki Tumhare Jivaya? Because in the beginning chapters of Sri Harinam Chintamani, he has spoken about Ishvara Tattva. He has spoken about the Jiva Tattva. He has spoken about the Maya Tattva. And then about the holy name. And an entire chapter was devoted to Namabhas chanting, which is chapter 3 of Harinam Chintamani. And the offenses to the holy name were discussed from chapter 4 to chapter 13. So all this is discussed. All this is what Haridas Thakur has spoken to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is further in the verses going to mention that you kindly speak about Nam Ras now. After speaking about all these truths, ultimately we have to attain Nam Ras. So Nam Ras is what is going to be discussed in Prayojan. Okay, let us see some points from the PowerPoint. Science of the Holy Name revealed. This is verses 3 and 4. Just now we spoke about these two verses, 3 and 4. So there are very important points. Tattva, Nama Tattva is, we are just calling it as science. It's spiritual science. We have to understand that. One does not need to become a Muni or Jnani to understand the subject matters of the absolute truth. One simply has to surrender to the holy name of the Lord and all will be revealed. Such a profound statement. Where in the Shikshashtakam, Mahaprabhu mentions that holy name gives all knowledge. Anyone would like to try? In the Shikshashtakam, particularly one line, which verse I'm not going to say, among the first 8, there are only 8 Shikshashtakam it is, where it is mentioned that the holy name bestows all knowledge. Anyone would like to try? Yes. Yes, Sunita Mataji.
चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयोकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम्.
Yes, here it is Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Vadu means the wife. Just like the wife follows the husband, now with the chanting of the holy name, knowledge automatically follows. So why then we might think, or we are chanting, but then why then all these truths are not revealed to us? Because our chanting is not pure chanting. Our chanting is still filled with offenses. Durdaivami Krishamiya Janina Ruraga. Mahaprabhu is lamenting, that's why. So that is the reason. Otherwise, you need not get any knowledge. Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, we know, he had not studied Sanskrit, he did not know any language, but all the Vedic truths were revealed in his heart. After having given the Jiva's knowledge of the Supreme Enjoyer, the process to search for him, the Vedic conclusions, the pitfalls to be aware on the path, that is the Dasha Aprad, and the correct procedure for advancement. Srila Haridas Thakur is about to describe the further state of advancement when the consciousness is purified. So with the consciousness being purified, when the chitta gets fully purified, then the chitta experiences pure spiritual rasa. So now Haridas Thakur is going to speak about it. The topic of bhajan may only be taken up when one has attained a degree of purity. And for that reason, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has included it at the end of Sri Harinam Chintamani. That's what I was mentioning in the overview. If you see that why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about this now, because it is expected that one has gone through all this knowledge from chapters 1 to 14, and it requires a degree of purity. So why we cannot chant, or why do we don't have taste for chanting? What is the reason? Why we don't have taste for chanting the holy names? Mohan Rup Sham Prabhuji, you're there? I'd like to hear from you. Hare Krishna. Okay, Sunita Mataji.
Our heart is not pure, we chant with offenses.
Yeah, our heart is not pure and we have taste for mundane things. We have taste for mundane sense gratification, and that's why we don't have taste for holy name. It is not a good idea to throw pearls. Sorry, not pearls, it is pearls. It is not good idea to throw pearls before a swine, as he will undoubtedly trample them into the ground. Therefore, good manners have been taught before the overview of bhajan has been introduced. So all these previous chapters are discussed, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is discussing about bhajan. A degree of faith has been given, and knowledge of Krishna's supreme position has been revealed within the heart of the reader, who is now situated, ready to hear more. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur does not go into elaborate discussions about his personal bhajan, which is in the mood of Rajvasis, Raj Bhakti, within the realms of this book, but instead choose to include this in his sequel. Sequel is a, like Bhagavad Gita is there. The sequel of Bhagavad Gita is the Uddhav Gita. Similarly, the sequel to Sri Harinam Chintamani is Sri Bhajan Rahasya. Bhajan Rahasya, the instructions of bhajan, meditation on the spiritual world. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote about his own personal bhajan, and Sri Bhajan Rahasya is a very important book for those who want to understand the confidential secrets of bhajan. So it follows, it's my understanding again, that just like we study Bhagavad Gita, and thoroughly when we study the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, then we more understand the confidential secrets Krishna has spoken about bhakti in Uddhav Gita. Similarly, one has to repeatedly go through Harinam Chintamani and then enter into the book Bhajan Rahasya. The servant is not independent of the master, but must follow the premise set by him. Therefore, in my vain attempt to assist devotees, I will try to clarify the Thakur's words in the form of an overview of the instructions given within this chapter. But I will stop short of describing the Abhidheya of personal bhajan. So the personal bhajan is discussed in Bhajan Rahasya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself is going to speak about it. So we will wait for that. The subject of rasa that we are about to enter into can be attained by connection with Nam. That is why it is Nam Ras. We have our Jivva wants to take different Shad Ras Bhojan, And as long as you have some taste for the Shadras Bhojan, where is the question of Namras? As long as the mind has desires for sense gratification, where is the question of Namaras? Rasa is the particular relationship a jiva has with the Lord. It is not that rasa exists only when one thinks about it from the spiritual perspective. So we are also tasting mundane rasas in this material world in the form of relationships. Mother and child, there is Vatsalya ras. Lover and beloved, there is Madhurya ras. Then two friends have Sakya ras. And then there is Dasya ras, there is Shanta ras. So all these are perverted reflections of the original spiritual rasa, the jiva, the pure jiva, the soul has with the supreme soul. So the jiva is rasa. The jiva is rasa. Without rasa, the jiva cannot live. So if we are tasting mundane rasa in the form of relationships in this world, where is the question we can taste spiritual rasa in relationship to Krishna? So the subject matter of rasa is a very important science. Rather, rasa is eternal, and it is our connection with the spiritual that reveals this our particular rasa with the Supreme Lord. Okay. That reveals our particular rasa with the Supreme Lord. So how many of you are aware about overview of rasa? Because I think many devotees are not aware. Can you raise your hands? What is the overview of rasa? How many of you are aware about it? Because definitely I have not discussed this. This comes in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So I feel it is important that we discuss this rasa. How many of you are okay? Mohan Rup Sham Prabhuji has attended Bhakti Shastri Nectar of Devotion. So many are not aware. So I'll just take a brief introduction to the overview of rasa. Now here, this is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I am just opening it. Now in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are four divisions: the Eastern rasa, the Southern, the Western, and the Northern. Just like an ocean has four divisions. And the Eastern wave, Purva Vibhaga, it is called. The different types of bhakti are discussed. And this is what we study in the Bhakti Shastri chapters 1 to 19. And there are four waves here. In the Southern wave are the rasa ingredients. In the Western wave are the primary rasas: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. There are five waves here. And in the Northern, there are the secondary Gaun rasas. There is Hasya ras, Karuna ras. These are the seven secondary rasas, along with two more additional chapters. That makes it around 9 chapters. So, Dakshin Vibhaga, Paschim Vibhaga, Uttar Vibhaga, Purva Vibhaga. So there is Samanya Bhagavad Bhakti Ras. Oh, Purva Vibhaga is here, sorry. Purva Vibhaga. Actually, the chart should turn. It should be in the left side only. Chapters 1 to 19. And there is Dakshina. Dakshina means it should be down here. Sorry, I'll change this. Then there is some mistake here. And there is the Samanya Bhagavad Bhakti Ras. And then there is a Paschim, Western, where are the Mukhya Bhakti Ras, the five main rasas. And then the Gauna Bhakti Ras, Uttar Vibhaga. So here I'm just again showing you this. Eastern division is, varieties of bhakti. Samanya Bhakti. And then there is Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. This is what we study in our Bhakti Shastri. The overview of rasa, and these are the five terms used: Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, Vyabhichari Bhav, and Stahi Bhav. Then in the Western wave, these are these five rasas: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. And in the northern, there are the 7 Gaun rasas discussed. Laughter is hasiras, astonishment is vibhatsya, and vibhatsya is fear, I think. Adbhuta, chivalry is viriras, compassion, raudraras, bhayanakaras. Adbhutaras is ghastliness. And there is mixture of mellows and distorted mellows, rasa and rasabhas. What rasas are compatible and incompatible. So this is just an overview. Now I will come to directly this overview of rasa, because that's what is the chapter of Harinam Chintamani discussing. Now, okay. This is again actually from Bhaktivinoda Thakur only, who has spoken this in his Prema Pradeep. Now, what is rasa and bhava? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says the difference in bhava and rasa is that many bhavas unitedly give rise to rasa. So what is rasa? Many bhavas unitedly give rise to rasa. Now, bhavas, Sanskrit is such a language that every word has different meanings based on the root, based on the context, like that it has many meanings. So bhavas can refer to emotions, and bhava, this material world is also bhava, and material, no, nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. Their bhava is being used, 2.16 in the Bhagavad Gita. So there is the spiritual nature and there is a material nature. So bhava can also refer to material nature. So bhava can refer to emotions, bhava can refer to material nature. Rasata is attained when all bhavas combine together. So when you attain rasa, when many bhavas combine together. Amongst all bhavas, the bhava which is prominent is called stahi bhav. Now we are understanding what is the definition of stahi bhav. Among many bhavas, there are many bhavas, all the bhavas, in fact there are 5 total. In that one is called stahi bhav. Stahi means steady or prominent. Like the stahi bhav of Mother Yashoda towards Krishna is that of Vatsalya ras. The stahi bhav, emotions, what the gopis have towards Krishna is Madhurya ras. The friends of Krishna, their stahi bhav is Sakya ras. So that bhav which is prominent is called as the stahi bhav. Amongst the other 3 bhavas, one is named Vibhav, one is named Anubhav, and one is named Sanchari bhav. So there is Vibhava, Anubhava, and Sanchari bhav, and also there is Stahi bhav, and all together combine and give rise to rasa. So now you'll ask me, what is Vibhav, what is Anubhav, what is Sanchari bhav? We will come to that. Bhava, with the support of the other 3, becomes relishable and is transformed into rasa. So bhava, with the support of all these others, vibhava, anubhava, and sanchari bhav, they become transformed into rasa. Okay, now I'll give an example and you'll have to tell me, halwa is rasa in fact. Okay, when we taste halwa, we inside in our heart, we feel some emotions. Wow, so nectarian is the taste of halwa, that too ghee halwa with dry fruits. So this halwa, when we have, it is rasa. And this halwa, where we are tasting the rasa, is made of different bhavas. I was mentioning how bhava can refer to different material ingredients also. So how we are getting the rasa of halwa? We are getting it because there is rava, there is ghee, there is sugar, there is dry fruits, there is milk. All together combine and give rise to halwa. So similarly, all bhavas, if you see here, all bhavas combine to give rise to rasa. I hope it is clear. All bhavas. So all bhavas here, all these when they are combined together give rise to rasa. You won't get rasa by just, eating rava. Okay. This is just again a material example. You can stretch it to only a certain limit. You might say, oh, milk, we can get rasa. Yes, that's true. But, the example is having a particular application. You cannot stretch it beyond it. Or to give an example, puri. Puri is made of atta and oil and maybe some fine, they can be a palak puri, or they can be, puri with a lot of spices added in it, ajwain and so many things, jeera and all. So you cannot just eat atta or eat oil directly. So all these ingredients, atta, oil, the palak, sabzi, paste, all do this, you combine and you fry it. And then when you taste the puri, you experience rasa. Many devotees like puris because they are very tasty. So all bhavas combine to give rise to rasa. Now here it was mentioned amongst all bhavas, the bhava which is prominent is called stahi bhav. So my question to you here, dear devotees, is there are many bhavas. There is one rava, ghee is one bhava, sugar, dry fruits, milk, and all give rise to rasa. Suppose now one ingredient is not there, missing in your halwa, where you'll not get rasa. Which is that prominent rasa? Anyone can speak about it. Which is that prominent rasa? There is one devotee who has raised hand. I would like to see others also participate. I would like to ask devotees only. Satanand Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Harish Prabhu,
Yes.
I feel in this it is sugar.
Yes, it is sugar. Why it is sugar, you tell me.
Because it adds that sweetness that we are actually expecting to derive.
Yes, it's simple. When you eat halwa and there is no sugar, you don't experience rasa. You don't experience rasa. So the sahi bhav in one sense is sugar here. Okay, so this is an example. Now let us come to the difference in bhava and rasa is that many bhavas unitedly give rise to rasa. Many bhavas unitedly give rise to rasa. Now, let's come to the rasa and bhav in bhakti ras. So stahi bhav we mentioned. Stahi bhav is what? Stahi bhav is the permanent emotion or the prominent emotion which is there. Sakya, vatsalya, madhurya or dasya or shant also. And then what is vibhav? Vibhav is that which stimulates the sthayi bhav. Simple definition of vibhav, which stimulates the sthayi bhav. Now I'll give an example. Mother Yashoda has love for Krishna, Vatsalya Prem, motherly affection. So when she sees Krishna or she sees a picture of Krishna, immediately her Vatsalya bhav manifests. So vibhav is that which stimulates sthayi bhav. Anubhav is what follows. It's called as a subsequent emission, what Prabhupada says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anubhav. Like example again, it is evening time, Godhuli is happening and Krishna is coming from the forest and Mother Yashoda's Stahi Bhav, Vatsalya Prem is manifesting because it is evening time, Krishna is going to come. And when she sees Krishna's face, her Vatsalya Bhav manifest. So the face of Krishna is Vibhav. The subsequent emotions is the love what Mother Yashoda has in her heart. That love manifests in the form of she opening the arms to embrace Krishna. So Anubhava are emotions of the heart. Here heart means the soul, which are manifested in form of actions, voluntary actions. Voluntary actions. These are Anubhavas. The Satviki Bhavas, if you remember here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that 3 bhavas. He doesn't include the Satviki Bhava here. The reason being, because the Satviki Bhavas are involuntary. The Ashta Satvik Vikars, they are involuntary. That means, when Mother Yashoda opens her arms, this is a voluntary action. And she cannot command now, hairs, please stand on end, tears start rolling from my eyes out of love. No, they naturally manifest because of the pure love which is there in the soul for Krishna. And it is not in the control of the devotee, it just manifests. So they are called as the Ashtasattvic vikars, which are sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest. The Anubhav is in our hand, but Satviki is not in our hand. It manifests by the spiritual potency of Krishna. And it is involuntary. This is voluntary Anubhav. The Sanchari Bhavas or the Vebhichari Bhavas are transient emotions. These are like the waves which come in the ocean. Sometimes, the ocean is having waves, but suddenly there is a high tide. And seeing the scene also, you get excited, right? And then the wave comes down. So there are some emotions which come like a huge wave in the heart of the devotee. Just like Krishna is there in the Kaliya coils. And Mother Yashoda's Vatsalya Bhav, seeing Krishna in that state, goes to a height, her Vatsalya Bhav. And then only Krishna understands, oh, Mother Yashoda, now I have to come out of the coils of Kaliya. And then he starts dancing. Then, so her Vatsalya Prem suddenly went to a certain very high height. So these transient emotions, they are temporary and they appear and they embellish the Sthayi Bhav. They embellish the Sthayi Bhav. These are the Vebhichari Bhavas or Sanchari Bhavas. Now within Vibhava, there is a division called as Alamban and Uddipan. Alamban means for love to happen, there have to be two. Two. Reciprocation means love means there has to be two. Jiva and Krishna has to be there. It's not that Krishna only is there. So Alamban is that which supports or for loving reciprocations, and for support there has to be two. So there is the Vishaya Alamban and Ashraya Alamban. Vishaya is Krishna, Ashraya is the devotee. The object of love is Krishna and the subject is the devotee who is possessing that love. Uddipan are, these are also Vibhavs, but they are a separate category. Why? Because Uddipan is that which is related to Krishna, which invokes the Sthayi Bhav. And these are like spiritual sense objects. Uddipan it is called. Uddip. The senses sometimes get agitated seeing material because of karma or whatever. So similarly, these are spiritual sense objects, Uddipan. And for the Mother Yashoda, the Uddipan is the sun setting and the Godhuli rising in Braj. So they act as a Uddipan. She has not seen the Vishay, Krishna. She has not seen the Krishna till now. She's seeing far off. The dust is, Braj Dhuli is going high in the sky. The sun is setting. So her, it becomes a spiritual sense object for her to manifest the Sthayi Bhav. So Alamban is, as I mentioned, support. There is Vishay and Ashray. Anything which has to stand, at least two legs are required. So we stand also on two legs. So love means reciprocation. There has to be two. So this is regarding Vibhav, Alamban and Uddipan. So what are the Uddipans in different rasas? For Sakya Ras, bugle. When Krishna in the morning plays the bugle, all the sakas of Krishna understand. They are Sakya Ras. Oh, now we are going to play with Krishna. So the bugle acts as a Uddipan. The horn, the stick act as Uddipan for those who are in Sakya. For Vatsalya, the ornaments of Krishna, the Makara Kamandal, not Kamandal, the Makara earrings. I'm not able to get the term. The curly hair of Krishna, which Mother Yashoda is repeatedly kissing, as it is mentioned in the Damodarashtakam. Muhush chumbitam bimba rakta dharambe. The ankle bells of Krishna. Krishna, when he's playing the ankle bells, so much pleasure Mother Yashoda is getting. Even the children, parents, when children walk, crawl, Their ankle bells, it gives so much happiness. There is Vatsalya Bhav there. And there is a Madhuri Ras. The Uddipan can be the flute, the full moon night, the Sharad Purnima night. So like that. Yeah, Makara Kundal. Yes. Makara Kundal. Kundal it is called. Kamandalu something was coming to my mind. Sorry for that. Okay. So there are these three types of rasas: worldly rasa, heavenly rasa, and spiritual rasa. Let us go to now worldly rasa. When referring to worldly rasa, four types of bhavas are observed: stahi bhav, vibhav, anubhav, sanchari bhav. Let us see the examples of parthiva rasa. Parthiva or worldly. Parthiv means, it is prithvi, earth or matter. Earth means matter. We are relishing gulab jamun. Gulab jamun is made of what? Earth element. We are relishing paratha. It is made of earth element. So all the Shadras, Bhojan, what is mentioned in the Ayurveda is all of Parthiva. A few bhavas appear on seeing a sweet delicacy. So we have taste for sweets. Some emotion, wow, today is gulab jamun in the feast. First, the rati or attachment to sweet rasa is called stahi bhav. So we have a steady emotion towards sweets. That is our stahi bhav. Somebody likes, pungent items. When there are spicy items, he's rejoicing. So his stahi bhav is pungent items. Somebody likes, bitter items. There are many who write bitter items. So their stahi bhav is bitter items. The object of that rati is vibhav. So vibhav, you have understood, object. Now, for mundane rasa, what is the subject? Where is the subject located? Can anyone think about it and answer? Where is the subject located? We know that object is gulab jamun. Where is the subject located? Anyone can try? You can try. If you're wrong also, it's not a problem. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I think it's the individual who is relishing that.
Who is that individual? Where he is relishing it? Where is he relishing the
Tongue.
gulab jamun? It's the tongue. It's the tongue. Okay. The object of the rati is vibhav. Here there is sahi bhav in the form of attraction to sweet. There are two types of objects as ashray or shelter: the vishay or subject. That which has attachment for the sweet, the human tongue is the ashray, shelter. That towards which the attachment rushes, the good, is the vishay. The good means here I'm speaking about jaggery. So there is object gulab jamun and we are rushing towards it. So the object is vibhav and the subject, there is vishay alamban and then ashray alamban. So that's what is being explained here. All the qualities of temptation which exist in the Vishaya are called Uddipan. So we are, the hot gulab jamuns fried in ghee and soaked in sugar syrup. The smell of the gulab jamun are temptations. They are like agitating. We become more agitated. So when the samosa being fried, the smell of the samosas can really agitate our mind. So they become Uddipan for us. When attachment is awakened for the sweet, then whatever symptoms are manifest are called as anubhav. Oh, you raise your hand and say, wow, today is gulab jamun in the feast. So this is anubhav. This is the emotion which you're voluntarily expressing. It is anubhav. In order to nourish that attachment, feelings as joy are called sanchari bhav. So there is sudden height of emotions going up high in the heart. In the heart, there are waves happening. I remember one kid, the parent had come and I gave an apple to the kid. And this kid immediately took the apple and started jumping up and down, jumping up and down. I said, what happened to her? No, she likes apples. And whenever she gets apples, she starts jumping up and down. So these are the sanchari bhavs which we experience sometimes. And sometimes, we have deep attachment for gulab jamun. We have kept it uh, somewhere locked in some cupboard so that nobody will steal it. But devotees, especially in the ashram, they will take it away when they see it, and you are excited when I will go and have, when nobody is seeing. And when you go and see there, it's not there. And then a negative emotions come in the heart. Who is that? Who has taken my gulab jamun? So these feelings which are coming, I'm just giving an idea of how the opposite of sanchari bhavs can manifest. When attachment for sweets becomes palatable to by support of these bhavas, that is sweet rasa. So these all states of emotion, if you finally analyze and see in our heart, how we feel when we take prasadam, when we take mango juice. Wow, there's some inner happiness and joy, emotions you're experiencing. And that's why we want more mango juice. Okay, so now it's a small exercise we will do. And those who have attended Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, they need not answer, but the new devotees can answer. Okay, in this picture, what is the Stahi Bhav for this child? Anyone can raise their hand and answer. Stahi Bhav. What the child has Stahi Bhav towards? Anyone? Yes, Amal Bhakti Rani Mataji.
The cookies, Prabhuji.
Yeah, he has natural taste for bakery items, the cookies. Okay. Let us go one by one now. Attachment to sweet rasa. I'm saying it is sweet. Okay. Stahi Bhav. Okay. What is the vibhav here? Which is the vibhav? Think about it and answer. What is the vibhav? Vibhav is that which stimulates the Stahi Bhav. What is the vibhav here? Anyone? You can try. What is the vibhav? Yes, Amal Bhaktarani Mataji. Bhakti.
The tongue, Prabhuji.
You see, in vibhav there is.
His mind is getting stimulated actually.
No. One second. See, in vibhav there is object and there is a subject. Just think about the example. Mother Yashoda has Vatsalya. Stahi Bhav is Vatsalya. For her Vatsalya, who is the Vishaya? Vishaya means the object. Who is it? It is towards whom she feels Vatsalya prem. Towards whom?
Krishna.
Huh? Krishna. Krishna becomes what? Krishna is the object.
Object, yeah.
Is the Vishaya. And this Vatsalya prem resides in Mother Yashoda's heart. She is the abode of Ashraya. Okay?
Yeah.
Subject. So similarly, he has got Stahi Bhav, attachment to sweet biscuits. So which is the Vishaya then? Vishaya is object. Which is the Vishaya here?
The object is cookies, Prabhuji.
Yes. So that is called as Vishaya. Vishaya Alamban. Vishaya Alamban. I hope the terminologies you will become more familiar. Okay. Vibhav we call Alamban Vishaya. In Vibhav there is Alamban, this is the Vishaya. Now what is the Ashraya? Or in Vibhav, what is the Ashraya Alamban? What is the Ashraya Alamban here? Amal Bhakti Rani Mataji, you can answer again. This is the object. Where is the subject located?
The subject is eyeing the cookies.
I'm the cookies. No, I'm not cookie. No, who is where the taste for cookies is coming? Where is that location of the taste?
Tongue.
Tongue. Yes, it is tongue. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Vishay, Vibhav, Alamman, Ashray, the tongue. Okay. Now, what is the Uddipan here? What can be the Uddipan? You can think some, on your own imagination, you can think what can be the Uddipan in the Vishay. This is the Vishay, the biscuits. What can be the Uddipans? What can be the Uddipan here? Anyone can try? What is the Uddipan here?
It could be smell, Prabhuji.
Huh?
It could be smell, nice smell, fragrance.
Yes, excellent. Any other things you can think of? I want to mute all. You can raise your hand, Virendra. Yeah, any other things?
Prabhuji, it could be a nice shape and it's a fresh. Those all things could be.
Yes, yes. Okay, Amal Bhakti Rani Mataji. Yes.
The appearance, Prabhuji, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Appearance, yes. There can be cream on the biscuits. There can be crispiness in the biscuits. All these, become more and more for us, our senses get more attracted to it, right? So all these are like Uddipans. Okay. Temptations in the Vishay are called Uddipan, hot, crispy, cream, smell, all these can be there. Okay, what is the Anubhav here, which the child is expressing? Remember, Anubhav is a voluntary emotion, voluntary action out of love. He has love for biscuits. So what is the voluntary action he's doing? Anyone? Amal Bhakti Rani Mataji, what is the Anubhav here?
He's looking happy. He's just...
What else you can see in the picture here of this child?
very eager to taste it. He's very happy.
No, you cannot see all that, but some physical thing you can see, which he has done, which is very prominent in the picture. Yes, that happy state of emotion is there, but
yeah, his hands are raised. So.
Yes, yes. Just like I was explaining, Mother Yashoda opens her arms to embrace Krishna. Here he's raised his hands. So these are the Anubhavas, which follow the Vibhava, which follow after the Vibhava. Anubhava is the voluntary action from heightened affection for the sweet biscuits, hands raised. And then there are inside feelings of joy are called Sanchari Bhav that nourish attachment. So worldly rasa, we could understand components. Now let's come to mental rasa. A simple example is of mother and child relationship. The child's beautiful face, for example, can heighten her motherly affection, stahi bhav, vatsalya prem. Her child face corresponds to vibhav. Anubhava is an action that results from heightened affection for the child. Perhaps she will embrace her child. This corresponds to Anubhava. Satviki bhav is an involuntary reaction that results from heightened affection for the child. Vyabhichari bhav is an emotional experience that results from an intensified affection for the child. Now let me explain here. I hope Vibhav is clear, because Vibhav is the object. For the mother, it is the child, and she has love, vatsalya prem towards the child, and his face or his picture, even seeing the shoes, mother at home seeing the shoes of the child, she will remember the child and she might feel vatsalya prem, right? Of course, it is perverted reflection. That should be very clear. Now, Satviki bhavs and Vabichari Bhav. Let me give you an example in the mother and child relationship. Suppose the child is playing somewhere nearby the house and the mother is cooking, and suddenly the child slips from the steps and rolls down, and the mother sees the scene. Her Vatsalya Prem goes to an height and she rushes immediately and gets catches the child and then embraces, kisses him, and see what is, whether he's hurt and all. So suddenly her love for the child heightens, and maybe she might experience out of fear, the hair standing on end. So these are the Satviki Bhavs and the Vabhichari Bhavs which we experience in Mandal Rasa. The spiritual rasa is the real rasa between the soul and the supreme soul. Vibhav is that which stimulates eternal affection for Krishna. So the eternal affection for Krishna is Vibhav. Anubhav is the action that results from heightened affection for Krishna. Here the object is Krishna. In our mundane relationships, the object is, the other living entities. But they are not spiritual in one sense, because it is a combination of matter and spirit. Satviki Bhav is the involuntary reaction that results from heightened affection for Krishna. Vaibichari Bhav is an emotional experience that results from intensified affection for Krishna when Mother Yashoda saw Krishna enwrapped in the deadly coils of Kaliya. Stahi Bhav is one's eternal mood of affection for Krishna. Shant, Das, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. But in Vraj, Golok, there is only 4. Shant is not there. So now the last exercise for you all. You have to identify the components of spiritual rasa here. Now, what is the Stahi Bhav here? What is the Stahi Bhav here? Of course, we are just taking a little more time because I want to finish the overview of rasa, because we are going into Nam Rasa. It's important that we understand these concepts. What is the Stahi Bhav here? Anyone would like to answer can raise your hand. What is the Stahi Bhav? We have discussed quite a lot now to, yes, Vikram. Yes, Prabhuji.
That is Prabhuji. It's a Vatsalya Bhav, Prabhuji.
Yes, it's Vatsalya Bhav. Okay, what is the Vibhav then? Vishaya. Vishaya Alamban. What is the Vishaya? Vishaya Alamban. For Mother Yashoda, she has Vatsalya Prem. Towards whom? Yes, Vikramji, you only answer.
Prabhuji, it's for Krishna, Prabhuji, for son.
Krishna. Okay. The Vibhav Alaman Vishaya is Krishna. Who is the object, shelter of love here?
Yashoda Maya.
Yes. So that is the Ashray. Vibhav Ashray Alamban. Okay. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Now, what are the Uddipans can be? Uddipans, of course, I'll mention temptations in the Vishay, sunset, Godhuli, which we discussed. And then there is Anubhav. You can see there is heightened affection for the object of love. Mother Yashoda is opening her arms. Even Krishna is also having love for his devotee, so he's also opening the arms. That is what is expressed. And then there is, there can be some feelings of joy, and that can Sanchari Bhav, that nourish attachment. Mother Yashoda might jump and dance seeing Krishna like that. There are heightened emotions, Sanchari Bhav, especially in the Kaliya, Daman Leela, the Vabhichari Bhavs, go to a height and then embellish and nourish the Stahi Bhav. Okay, last few points are there. We'll finish. Swargiya Rasa is broader and more magnanimous than Parthiva Rasa because its subject is more subtle than matter. Parthiva is mundane Rasa, the Shadras Bhojan, which we spoke. We cannot have a, I feel emotion towards Gulab Jamun, but the Gulab Jamun doesn't feel any emotion because it is matter. So there is, reciprocation is not from both sides, it's only from one side. As Swargiya Rasa is more broader and magnanimous than Parthiva Rasa, in the same way, Vaikuntha Rasa or the spiritual Rasa is unlimitedly broader and more magnanimous than Swargiya Rasa. So worldly rasa, superior to that is the mental rasa. Mental rasa is swargya rasa, what I say. And there is this rasa is mental rasa is basically in the subtle body. We have emotions based on the subtle body, But the Vaikuntha or the spiritual rasa is the rasa of the soul with the supreme soul. So that's why Vaikuntha rasa is unlimitedly broader and more magnanimous. In Parthiv rasa, there is only one relationship, the relationship between the enjoyer and what is enjoyed. I am the enjoyer, I am enjoying the gulab jamun. In Swargya rasa, there are 4 relationships, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. But in Swargya rasa, the object of rasa is improper and unworthy. That is why Sargya rasa cannot be eternal. We have affection for, the mother has affection for the child. And when the child leaves this world, the child connection with the mother is cut off. So the mother might still feel Vatsalya Prem to the child who has left this world. But the child, he has forgotten. Now, when the mother leaves the body, then the mother also forgets that relationship. So the rasa, because of death, the rasa is terminated, the Swargya rasa, or the perverted rasas which we experience in this world. In Vaikuntha rasa, there are 5 types of relation: Shant, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Vaikuntha rasa is eternal, Swargya rasa is imperfect because the ingredients are all temporary, therefore it is short-lived and the source of embarrassment and insignificant fruits. So that's what is the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu takes us from the Bhavasagar and takes us to the ocean of the Bhakti Ras. This is what we discussed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I brought out this because we are going to study this rasa and we need to have a little overview. We discussed all these points and I think many devotees were not aware what we are all speaking about. So that's why I gave an overview of rasa. In Shringar Rasa, the Shringar Rasa is the highest rasa and contains all other rasas. That means in Shringar Rasa, Madhur Rasa, there is Vatsalya, there is Sakya, and there is Dasya also. The gopis serve Krishna, the gopis have friendship with Krishna, and the gopis have that, just like in earth, there is smell as well as there is taste. In water, there is no smell. In the 5 elements I'm speaking. And then there is, in fire, there is form, but there is no taste. But in earth, there is taste as well as there is form. And in sound, in ether, there is only sound. So in Shantras, there is only one, there is awe and reverence. But in earth, there is also sound. So similarly, Shringar Ras contains all the other rasas also. Okay, so this meditation is an aspect of Smarana. Smarana has these 5 divisions of deepening, concentration, and absorption. This will be dealt in the 15th chapter, if you remember the slide. So when we come to this level, chanting in ecstasy, which begins at the stage of bhava, then all these rasas will be revealed to us. So this will be the whole discussion in Harinam Chintamani. But before that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to speak about tattva. He's going to speak philosophical truths, which we'll take up in the next class. So any questions, any clarifications anyone has? We today mainly discussed the overview of rasa because it was important for us to understand. Because now we are going to speak about Nam Rasa in the Prayojan chapter. Any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Okay. So we will stop here. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai.